Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Thanks for joining our AMA. Thank you, Stephanie, for letting everyone know in general chat. Cool. So we have some updates, right? Charlie gonna share a dev update as usual, and then we will talk about parts and that release, and then also we will share some details around Outpost Surge and the plan for the beta release next week.
Right. So we've been busy doing some releases. What we're going to talk about here in a second with Hunter with the crafting and salvaging of parts release. That is went out this week, and I hope that you've gotten a chance to go look at it. It's pretty cool concept, pretty cool gameplay aspect of it, and so great addition to Mission Control. And then we also are, for the most part, we're going to be probably by end of day tomorrow. I jumped the gun a little bit on this, but like feature complete on the Opal Adventure game as well, which is the Telegram game, and that's really actually looking cool. And Hunter and the gang have really done a great job of designing a cool little game, and we're executing on that. So pretty excited about that. And then, as Hunter also mentioned, we got Outpost Surge. We're driving towards the beta of that. Did some substantial work this week on the Surge token, integrating that, also creating some logic around that for rewarding based on the leaderboards, which is one of the big things that we've been working through on the actual game itself. In that experience is the leaderboards aspects, which shows you kind of where we are too in terms of gameplay. We're making some fit and finish changes on the gameplay right now, but for the most part, it's done. It's a very cool game. And now we're kind of doing some of the stuff around the edges to make it a great experience. And the last thing I was going to talk about was just we actually have come into, we're going to do a few enhancements to the free to play, and obviously the people on in the AMA, for the most part, you guys, you don't, this isn't really directly related to you, but just for people I think that are coming in to play the game, and that's always important to grow the community. um, we're gonna do some changes there to make it easier for the free to play people to try the game out, and try out functionality, and be able to get involved in the game, and then hopefully graduate into full-fledged users. So that's about it, Hunter.
Thank you. Yeah, so with the free to play, what we're doing is adding some cards to those wallets, the trial wallets, so that people have a baseline storage capacity, and then also that they can repair and uh, spend medicine to heal their cards. Right now, the cards that are in the free to play wallets, they don't have the storage capacity, or they don't generate repair or medicine tokens. So that's the change there. Along with that, we are recording some new tutorial videos that will be not only integrated into the game, but also put on our YouTube channel and in the documentation, that basically will take players from clicking the sign up button all the way through optimizing their resource chain, dealing with hazards, contributing to expansion missions, using the in-game swap, and pretty much all of the features. So that's going to be really important because, as Charlie mentioned, we're now at a point where we can get into refining the mission control game for new users. And part of that is getting the learning and tutorials updated. We also released documentation for mission control on docs.thriveonmars.com, which has, I think, a much better experience in terms of being able to search the documentation. All the links are updated. We also have the parts details in there, crafting, as well as updated numbers for all of the items so that it's just accurate towards the game. So that was great to get in there. And we're also going to be adding in some more visual improvements to mission control, including a upgraded mission control page, like the home page that you see right when you log in. That will include a new wrapper for your identity, as well as some updated links to launch you directly into crafting and salvaging. We're also going to add in some more filtering options for the crafting page so that you can see what recipes instead, because right now you have to scroll a lot in there because there's so many recipes. So we're going to add in, I believe, another drop down to filter crafting with base cards, ownership cards, or salvaging. But if you guys have other suggestions on how you might want that side drawer laid out, let us know so that we can design that into the game there. So that's all, like, I think really exciting for mission control. Also, one other thing that we were discussing in Discord that we will implement for the next missions is we're adjusting the payloads so that the legendary payloads will have parts, and then the ultimate and common payloads will have base cards. So, instead of missions just being parts, we'll reintroduce base cards into the payloads so that it is, a lot more geared towards players of all sizes. We think that, parts are generally for mid to high level players because the ultimate goal with parts is to craft an ownership card. So it's really for players that already have a decent size collection and they want to level up. But for newer players, we think that, common pools and ultimate pools having base cards of different rarities kind of helps them get to the first few levels. And so, yeah, that's kind of the change we're looking at. And the way it would work is essentially base cards that have to do with the mission type. So, for instance, construction is about buildings. So all the building base cards would be allocated towards construction missions, and we would randomly choose base card types for the upcoming construction missions and then put those into those missions. So that's, every 2 weeks, there's different base cards going into the missions. So, yeah, that's kind of how we're planning on updating the missions. And again, these are all the nice thing here is that all of these mission payloads are now getting automatically added, which takes development burden off of the team, as well as allows for voting based on the resource contributions. So in terms of the more popular cards will get more contributions, where less popular cards will get less contributions, and kind of work itself out. So that is what we have for mission control. Any questions? Having a small chance of getting an ownership card is nice for small players too. Yeah, so actually what we're planning on doing in that regard is we definitely want people interacting with salvaging more. And instead of the luck coming in through the missions, what we really want to do is we'd like to create some salvaging recipes for lower rarity cards and have a chance of failure, but also get parts for those items. So, for instance, you can use like a stainless steel base card plus a smaller amount of Martia, and have a chance at getting parts from that salvaging recipe. So, you can basically work towards an ownership card. But overall, we think that it's better to have people choose what ownership cards to build so that they are forced to get more educated on the right cards to craft versus just it always be either manual or randomly assigned in the expansion missions. So that's kind of how we're planning on solving it. And having crafting and salvaging be more upfront in the interface rather than being hidden on the collection page will also be a part of the revamp. So it becomes a more central part of the game. But along those lines, I think it would be great to get some feedback on how to, our current plan is to have an additional drop down for filtering in crafting and salvaging in that side drawer. But I'm personally open to us looking at a little bit more of a visual update to crafting and salvaging so that it's a little bit easier to navigate. Perhaps it lists out each parts that you have, and then maybe you can kind of visually see what recipes you can craft, based on the parts you have. Right now, you kind of have to decide what card you want to craft, and then after that, you can see if you have the parts. But I think it'd be kind of fun to maybe look at it the opposite direction and see if there's an easier way to know what parts you need to like target in order to unlock what you want. Like just more of an intuitive way, essentially. Michael, will the number of parts in the legendary missions be increased to offset the move away from parts in other mission types? Yes. So basically, the parts that are in the ultimate and common pools will now go into the legendary pools. So it'll be a much larger part quantity for the legendary pools. All right. In terms of social and launching and like marketing stuff, the big headline is we are launching Outpost Surge next week, which is a long time coming. I mean, not too long, but it's been a great effort to get us to the point where we're ready to get that out and people start to play. So the first build of Outpost Surge will get launched on outpostsurge.com, and we will basically have, so next week, just to give you some timing, on Wednesday, July 31st, that's our planned date to launch the game. So that means like next Wednesday, you'll be able to start playing Outpost Surge. If you buy a Baronaut, and they're a 20% discount right now, if you buy a Baronaut from the 31st onward, you'll start earning passive airdrop points. So every day that you don't buy a Baronaut, you're missing out on points. So now is a good time to buy one before we launch. And the 31st is kind of, the last day you can buy one and get all the points you could possibly get. Obviously, you can still buy one afterwards and start earning points for the duration of the beta process. The way that works is basically every day that you hold a Baronaut in your wallet, you'll earn a certain amount of points based on its rarity. So that's kind of the first thing that will open up next week. So along with the game, you'll start earning points with Baronauts. You'll also be able to if you don't have a Baronaut, you'll still be able to play, but you're not going to be able to customize your deck, and that will make it harder for you to get on the leaderboard. So, the Baronaut will give you an advantage of testing out all the cards, building a deck that's, better for topping the leaderboard. But the game itself will be the main Outpost Surge gameplay loop. The goal of the game has shifted to be around earning victory points. And victory points are earned by completing missions on the board. To complete missions, you basically need to move your astronauts to those missions and hold them there for a certain amount of turns. And then that gives you victory points. So the higher the victory points, the higher you'll be on the leaderboard. And, the main goal of the game is to explore the board, see where the missions are. You have to uncover them and then complete them by expanding out to those missions, putting astronauts on the missions, and kind of managing your resources. We also have a tech tree. It's not going to be in for the first version, but there will be a tech tree where you can invest data to get specific cards added to your game over the course of the game session. So that's a really cool feature that will be added in, in the beta timeline, but probably as like a V2. And yeah, the whole beta process is focused around airdrop points. So like I mentioned before, if you have a Baronaut, you'll be able to earn passively airdrop points. The second way to earn points is by acquiring Surge token, which you get by ranking on the leaderboard in the game. We're also going to have Surge token in social giveaways. So if you participate in some of the social campaigns, and we're about to launch one on Galaxy, we'll basically manually send you Surge token as a raffle, but there will be other opportunities to get Surge token, which I'll get into in a minute. You also can earn airdrop points through a daily check-in. So if you check into the game every day, you'll get Surge points. And then the last way to get them is by reporting bugs or submitting game feedback. And that will be a process where we'll review it and then assign points based on the severity of the bug or the usefulness of the feedback. Any questions on that? Oh, and one other thing is, so next week's a really big week for that launch because we're also going to airdrop everyone who earned a Baronaut. You're gonna get your Baronauts next Thursday. So that will go straight to your wallet, and you'll see it in there. It will be you won't see the traits on it until Friday. And on Friday, we're going to do a trait reveal, and you'll then see the Baronaut, what you got. And it's actually going to be really exciting because some people will get the mythic Baronauts, meaning that they're going to earn, I think it's 2,500 points a day, airdrop points a day for a mythic. It's 500 points a day for a epic Baronaut, and then I think it's 100 or 200 points a day for a common. So if you get that mythic, you're going to be really cruising with the airdrop points. So on next Friday, check your wallet, see what Baronaut you got, and at that point, you can decide to buy another one if you want to get more, another chance at getting a higher rarity Baronaut. And the points stack. So if you have multiple Baronauts, the points will stack. So that's kind of how we're running the closed beta. We're excited for people to start playing the game. I anticipate the closed beta. Well, it's technically not closed. Everyone has access, but it's still on testnet and everything. So this beta period will probably last for around 3 months, I would say. And this is really dependent on what Berachain, the timing for Berachain. So we don't really know, but I think it's probably going to be around 3 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 2 months. Who knows? But it will definitely be important to get into the beta, get your Baronaut when we start it, because that's going to maximize your points. Any questions on Outpost Surge? All right. Opal Adventure. So Opal Adventure is our Telegram game. We are very close to version 1 being complete on that. The premise of the game is you're mining for fire opals on Mars. And the way you do that is by tapping the fire opal on your screen. You get opal as you tap, and you can unlock different bonuses by inviting friends, joining an alliance, or completing quests. The quests include things like a daily check-in, as well as watching different videos or following us on social media. And there's also a feature of building and upgrading. So you can upgrade your mining equipment to earn more opal per tap, as well as increase your energy limit. Energy is essentially every tap your energy goes down. And so the higher your limit, the more you can tap. And then in V2, we will add in some automation upgrades so you can automatically earn opal by investing in like AI or different robots to tap for you. And so your goal will really be to maximize the amount of opal you mine on Mars. So that game will be coming out pretty soon. Like Charlie said, we're probably going to be feature complete with V1 by the end of this week or early next week. And yeah, Janu, it's like what you're saying. So like I really want to dive in V2. I want us to go super deep into automation and also do things like combos where there's deep automation trees where you can really upgrade and spend your opal to build out the automation system. And this goes super deep. So that's where I think it really gets fun. And the progression system would get super sophisticated. So that's really where we're going with it, but we wanted to get it out early, get you guys playing it and start socializing it. And then we'll add in some more depth with all of the Mars tech that we have at our disposal. I've spent way too much time playing Paperclips. Yeah, it's like literally such an addictive game. It sucks you in and you don't leave until it sucks you in. But yeah, I mean, like Paperclips, what's great about it is there's lots of automation. There's sort of this continual management of your essentially like what you can produce and then your limits. And so like we're also playing around with that with the ability to mine and then the energy limit you need to sustain mining operations. And then some of the automation stuff starts to build that out over time. So yeah, I mean, that's really where we're headed with the game. It's visually stunning. The graphics look awesome. And, we think it'll do really well. We're also looking to do some partnerships. Obviously, the Wax team has been promoting Woofy and their tapping game. So we're exploring some ways to collaborate, and nothing official, but I think that would be really beneficial for the Wax ecosystem as a whole to work together. So lots of stuff happening. Mission Control is, I think, really shaping up nicely. Again, the focus is now really back on tutorials, learning, getting new players in. We are going to start reaching out to some influencers in the Wax ecosystem to basically, once we get our tutorials in, to get a new influx of new players for them to try out the game. But I just tried out the free to play yesterday and worked flawlessly for me. And I think it's a really cool system there. So now that we have parts in, we are closer to being a forever game, which is awesome, meaning that people can vote with their Martia and collection to decide how they want to expand the settlements on Mars. And that's really, I think, a big step in the direction we want to head with handing the power of the future of the game over to the players. So yeah, those are all major updates. I think next week's going to be really fun. We're also doing Bara Game Day, which is we want to do it basically monthly, and we're co-hosting with Fable, which is a entertainment hub on Barachain. And we're going to do a live stream in Discord next Wednesday to celebrate the launch of our game by bringing in some of the other games on Barachain, and everyone will live stream, demo their game. And so we'll see some new faces. We'll get some exposure to some other games on Barachain, and there will be some great rewards. We're giving away 10,000 Surge token as well as a Baronaut for that stream. So definitely participate in that. If you didn't get a Baronaut, that's an opportunity to get one. And also head start on Surge tokens so you can maximize your airdrop points. So that's next Wednesday at noon. And I wanted to leave us with a little bit about Martian Resident. But feel free to fire any questions in the chat. But I just wanted to show you guys, this is a live gameplay render from Martian Resident. And this is not like a CG render, it's literally what the game looks like when you're just standing as an astronaut looking over the Martian landscape. So we're super excited. We probably need another few weeks to get back to showcasing gameplay now that we've totally reworked all of our visual systems. But we wanted to just show like how polished it's starting to look and the landscape that you'll be able to explore as an astronaut in Martian Resident. Now, this game, of course, it takes longer to develop a RPG game. So like this game is probably going to be playable in a closed beta state closer to the early part of next year. But we're going to continue to update you guys with this game. And the last thing is we have been building some fantastic progress on land and the land experience that's connected to Mission Control, which will essentially be the gameplay that happens around the main settlement. And I think we have some really good directionality for it. But the game itself, we have the map built out, and we're just getting to some of the final gameplay decisions on that so that we can present a clear roadmap for land. But we anticipate that also being ready to showcase pretty soon. So that is, we're doing a lot, but managing it well. I think everyone on the team has been, really, really looking forward to getting some of these projects that they've worked super hard on out. Outpost Surge is the next thing going out next week. And then Opal Adventure will follow soon after. And then we'll have some iterative updates on those. And then we'll turn our focus to Land and Martian Resident after that. So, any questions on any of that before we wrap it up for today? And thank you guys for being so active in the Discord. It's great to see back and forth discussion. I think it's productive discussion that's happening around the gameplay features. Are you planning to allow us to spend our store credit in crafting? So it's something we're looking at discussing. And I do think it is possible for us to do. So we'll give you guys an update on that when we determine if it's possible to put that into the system. Kimmy, salvage, less rare cards. Yes. So we do want to put in salvage recipes for less rare cards. The way it would work is it would be less Marcia as well as a less rare card. But in order to offset the value of the reward, we would need to add in a chance of failure. So it's higher risk, higher reward. Will salvage eventually be available for rare cards? I don't know yet. I don't want to say yes or no. I would prefer Solar Flare to stay as a collectible. The new ownership cards we could eventually have a salvage for. So that is an option. The older cards, like the original ownership cards, would not be possible to salvage because they're not burnable. So that's the only caveat there. All right. Well, that's all there is from me. So thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll have another stream next Wednesday, a special one, the Bear Game Day, and then our regular stream on Thursday. So thank you guys.
Bye all.